So what does it mean to be a good parent or friend or partner or coworker? Well, we all start off by thinking, consideration, flexibility, being understanding, being a good communicator. And these things start off with that good intention to meet the other person halfway, not to be difficult or stubborn, insistent on our way of doing things. The thing is, after enough time of being flexible and adaptive and thoughtful of what other people want and need, sometimes we can lose track and contact with our own needs and desires. Not only are we not filling them or respecting our needs, we are not even clear what they are because we can no longer differentiate between someone else and ourselves. So I have a long history of serial monogamy. I have been in a romantic relationship for almost my entire adult life. And you learn a shitload of skills on getting along and cohabitation, and there's really beautiful lessons in there. But I've also learned how quickly I am to compromise my vision for something because I want to make decisions as a team, as a unit. Like if this is what makes sense for my partner, it's easy for me to say, well, if that doesn't fit with what makes sense to me, then I am already looking to adapt my vision to match theirs. Rather than having a larger sense of faith that the divine can take care of matching those two visions and desires. Like if we were really faithful and in our belief, then we could pursue our subjective desires and ambitions and aims and visions for our life, and we could allow other people to pursue their subjective aims and visions for their life and not need to fuse these things together in this unnatural manner. I think a real fruitful relationship will allow for people to pursue their dreams, and it will adapt and expand to evolve. With the relationship will adapt and evolve to the growth of the individual. If that's not the case, then eventually there will be some kind of stagnation where one person in that relationship will become resentful. Now, I see this a lot in motherhood as well, and I'm sure it can also be true for both parents, but particularly with the maternal figure, there tends to be this element of self-sacrifice that we associate with caring for, an individual. You see a mother getting interrupted at all times with what she's doing when approached by the child, and other people's needs need to come first, especially because when they're a baby, you don't really have a choice in the matter, and then you carry that into an older age. But what happens is eventually there's this sense of bitterness or confusion around not having something that's uniquely our own. And I say this as a woman, not as a mother yet, hopefully one day. So I just want to help people that feel stuck right now in a boundaryless scenario. It doesn't mean that there is no boundaries. It doesn't mean the relationship is necessarily toxic, but somewhere along the line, someone forfeited something so that they could make sense in somebody else's puzzle. They tried to make themselves fit in somebody else's schema. It's jamming that foot into a shoe that doesn't really fit, and eventually that gets uncomfortable and feels suffocating. And maybe it's not the other person's fault. I mean, often it's our own fault because only we can really make that choice not to self-abandon. This does not mean that we are confrontational and critical of our partner, our child, our coworker, whoever it is that we're in this dynamic with, or a parent. We're resentful of somebody else because we feel that they're controlling our lives. We're giving them all the power because they are in every way entitled to have their preference and make their choices and do what's best for them, the same way we are entitled to. So it's up for us to decide where am I willing to bend and be flexible and evolve with this person, and when do I need to stick to my guns and commit to what it is that I want, trust that that is real and valid and for a good reason, even if I can't put my finger on what it is. So some of us feel that we're far gone, like we've made all these choices to adapt to other people's way of doing things. We feel like we lost ourselves somewhere along the way. So how do we get back on track and get connected to the life that we really want to build for ourselves as an individual outside of the partnership or family dynamic? I believe that it starts with really small acts of reclaiming your subjective desire. So I want you to get a pen and paper and let's go through a guided exercise of how to reclaim your subjective will and desires and differentiate them from that of your partner, parent, child, coworker, whatever person that you want to look at the relationship with. So I'd like you to grab a pen and paper, and when you're doing these journaling exercises, please do not stress over the answers or coming up with an answer or judging whether it's a good answer. Just really write the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it doesn't make sense to you rationally, and allow your pen just to move on paper as quickly as possible until you have nothing left to say. This is an exercise in automatic writing, not in making sense intellectually. Okay, so the first question you're going to answer is, what relationship in your life are you still people-pleasing or acting in codependence? Second question, which of your authentic desires have you compromised in order to keep the peace with this other person? What is one example of compromise in this relationship that is causing you some degree of discomfort or pain? The last question, what is one small but doable action step you can take to restore balance in this relationship? And this can be an example of, standing your ground, being true to how you want to do things, or not doing something you don't feel comfortable with. And, maybe that's communicating to the other person, maybe it's just doing it for yourself. So write down whatever comes to mind. I think that you will see when you take this small action step how quickly that sense of autonomy and the energy that brings and the freedom that brings and the excitement it can bring back into your life when you have felt oppressed energetically, maybe by your passivity, maybe by your resentment. When you take that small action step, you're reclaiming all of this energy, and it actually breathes new life into the relationship as well, not only you as an individual. And if the relationship can't withstand that one small adjustment that we've talked about, it's probably not a secure relationship. And maybe it's worth reconsidering the closeness of that relationship altogether. If the person responds well, this is amazing. We have just discovered that this codependent pattern is something to do with us, and that our relationship is able to evolve and grow with us as we come into ourselves. It doesn't mean we're never going to compromise. It doesn't mean that we're never going to have to make adjustments or concessions in certain situations. But if we don't start to identify what issues are important for us and where we need to be firm, then we also will not know where to be flexible. So there is nuance in life. We can't reside in either extremes, but we can start to disentangle ourselves from the other, figure out what's ours, figure out what's the other person's, and allow there to be more breathing room in that relationship. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is really a subject that I am passionate about. I'm always striving to find the freedom and individuality that I have as I would have as a single person, while I'm also in partnership. And hopefully when I become a mother one day, I will continue to build on these skills of not losing myself in intimate relationships, despite the temptation to cater to the needs and desires of those that we love, even if it's coming from a good place. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and you can always book your sessions with me online. Self-healing consults, that's my one-on-one personal and spiritual advising, my tarot readings, which is what I am known for, and a North Node consult, which I will be talking more about. I haven't talked a lot about it, but it's your soul's purpose and astrology. It's definitely worth finding out yours. It only requires one session, and I can't wait to chat with you again.